Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is Bala Sarda from Vahdam Teas. Bala, hi, good to have you on the show. And, there's so many numbers to talk about. To begin with, last year was a great one because India is now the second largest exporter of tea. 10% of global exports numbers come in from India now. And when you look at the categories as well, they do seem to be doing quite well. Specialty tea, wellness, and that's exactly why we're talking to you, because you have a stronger name when it comes to wellness teas. 97% of your tea is exported. How have those markets been for you? How have the last couple of quarters been for you?
Thanks, Manisha, for having me. You're absolutely right. I think the market for tea outside of India has been showing strong performance over the last few quarters. I think post-COVID, when it had peaked, it did see a kind of a slowdown over the next 2 years, primarily because of the disproportionate growth it had seen in that 1 year. So it was calibrating to the right numbers. And I think now we are back on track, to stronger growth even in international markets versus, of course, very, very reduced growth in India in the domestic market, primarily due to inflation and consumption behavior. And I think the growth, Manisha, you're right, has been driven by more premium products, driven by wellness, driven by teas blended with superfoods, herbs, botanicals, which is what consumers are now looking for. That's what has been driving the market. And I think you see that across numbers. We also saw a strong year of performance last financial year. And I think that's what you would see in some of the peers, even Indian peers, with their international businesses reporting much better numbers relative to the domestic market.
Bala, I remember last time I spoke to you, you said you were available in 7,000 retail stores globally. Is that number moved a bit?
Manisha, yes, we are continuing to expand our distribution. At the same time, we're also going deeper within our distribution. So within the 7,000 stores I mentioned, we are also launching many new SKUs this year. And that's a strategy, we sort of have always taken to sort of double down on wherever we are at. But it's been a fantastic year for us. We saw strong double-digit growth in terms of our business. In net revenue, we also got back to EBITDA and PAT profitability last financial year. And I think, we hope to continue that growth streak this financial year as well.
Bala, what do those SKUs look like right now? And I know we keep talking about teas and wellness, but you are into spices as well.
Yes, we do wellness spices and powders, which is very interestingly, is actually a core part of our tea portfolio as well. Like I mentioned, the new age tea consumer is looking for, more than just tea leaves. They're looking for herbs, botanicals, and superfoods like turmeric, moringa, ashwagandha, herbs like chamomile, lavender, so many other ingredients, right? And that really what makes for a lot of what we do, even in terms of percentage of revenue. So when we got an opportunity and a lot of strong consumer insights from consumers who told us that they also want to consume these ingredients in different formats as powders, we of course listened to them and launched it. And I think we have seen very, very strong feedback and performance for some of those SKUs in the market as well.
So while you've expanded a lot internationally, what are the domestic plans now? Are you putting focus back here now?
So Manisha, I think, to be honest, our focus will always stay outside, just by the sheer size of our business there. But that said, I think we are now formally launching in the India market later this year. I mean, we are, of course, available and we have been selling in the market for the last few years, but we've actually never focused on the market in terms of launching products specifically for the India market. It's generally been products which have been selling in global markets, and some of those hero SKUs we've sort of launched in India. But over the next quarter, in fact, by August, we are planning to launch a range of some very specific products for the India market, given we believe, I think it's the right time for us to do that.
What is India specific according to you? I mean, tea is tea, right? India, the only difference, Bala, is that you have masala chai. But global versus India, I'm just curious to know, what is India specific?
So I think that's a great question, Mangalam. So honestly, when I say, the India tea market, I think we divide it into two parts. One, of course, is your typical masala chai, which is Actually, a lot of it is, brewed with milk and sugar as we all consume it. That's one part of the market. And the other part of the market which is being driven by wellness, which is the green tea market, which is the herbal wellness tea market, which is primarily teas and infusions which solve for a certain problem, right? And that's really where Vahdam plays at, even globally. And I think we have seen a very, very strong movement in that part of the market, even in India. And that's really what makes us believe that it's the right time for us to go specific. And when I say specific in India, while of course the core positioning stays the same, the fact that we source all our ingredients fresh from over 25 states in India, get it to our own facility, end-to-end manufacturing owned by us. So the quality, freshness standards stay the same. But there are, of course, differences in tastes, when it comes to the India market. For example, the kind of flavors India likes, right? So honey, lemon, mint, tulsi, these are some ingredients which are very native to India. And, it's very important as a brand, we make that available while keeping our core portfolio as the hero. So that's really what I mean by customizing some of our products, and we should be ready for our launch by August.
Bala, as of now, you're 97 international, 3% India. Is that going to change anytime soon?
I think, Manisha, I really hope it does. Because, being in India, I think, we would love for our India share to go up. And I see that happening as well. But that said, our global markets continue to grow strongly. And I think we see strong double-digit growth there with profitability over the next 3 years as well.
Is tariff impacting you in any sense?
It has. It definitely has. I think, there is still a 10% tariff, on all imports, which was not present, till 2 months back. So of course that has a certain hit on our P&L, not to the exact amount, because we obviously sell it to our US entity and then we distribute it. But it has a P&L impact. But I mean, given we are a brand, we believe we should be able to sort of accommodate that, without impacting our margins over the next few months. While saying that, I also strongly believe that, the India government should be able to negotiate a deal where, we should be able to get some protection as a category, because, there is honestly no conflict. America does not grow any of these products, right? So there is no reciprocal tariff, which will anyways come in. So I think we strongly believe, this 10% can also go back to where it was 3 months back.
Bala, I remember having initial conversations with you, and you totally believed in D2C, more digital in that sense. The latest reports do suggest that Assam, for one, when it comes to their auctions, is going to be blockchain, AI-backed, and etc. How have you seen that as a development?
No, I think it's very positive to see. I think India, the tea industry has been very, very traditional, Manisha. And I think like all industries, using technology, right from, blockchain to AI now, I think it's critical for it to continue to become more efficient, make it more convenient for buyers across the world to transact from. So I think it's all very positive to see, for us as well.
So, you know what, Mangala, my latest try has been saffron tea.
Yeah, saffron. You have been trying all things saffron right now, Manisha. It just reeks of the prosperity maybe that you have, and may that continue. But I just, the first 3 months of this season are out. What is your outlook on pricing? Because last year, a lot of the companies that I track were pummeled on the margins because of the tea prices. They said that they may see some normalization, but they'll have visibility only, once the summer sets in. So far, what has your sense been?
No, Manglam, I think it's still too early. I think you're right. We hope that it will normalize. Like I said, for us, it does not impact too much, but a lot of the players were doing these more lower margin, like more commoditized products, which is the CTC tea, which is a big chunk of the market. I think they do get impacted by such single-digit increments as well. But I think so far, so good. But again, I think the summer season is just kicking in. It's June, so it's just kicking in Assam, I think even Darjeeling, some of the southern regions. So I think the next 45 to 60 days will be critical in how the entire year looks in terms of pricing.
Got that. We take that point. Thank you so much for joining in. Bala, we wanted to know about this for the CTC players itself, which are listed. You don't seem to be listing anytime soon, though we keep asking you that question every time. But we'll save that conversation for another time. Thank you so much for joining in. And thank you, Manisha, for taking us through that conversation. With that, we'll wrap up on this edition of Halftime Report. Business Lunch will take all the market action ahead.